Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure and privilege, and I'm honored to be here. My name is Caroline Adhiambo Obada. A mother, a daughter, a grandmother.
You're a grandmother?
Yes, 2 months.
Madam?
Yes.
Hey, okay.
A mother-in-law and a daughter of the Most High God.
Awesome. And a CEO, you need to say
And
that.
a CEO of Amor Holiday Tours.
Thank you. So I saw your birthday this year. You're celebrating your birthday.
Yeah.
And you said you are 50 years old.
55.
55,
yeah.
Okay, seriously, what are you eating?
It's not about what I'm eating, because I eat anything.
Because you're aging backwards.
The only thing I don't eat is fatty meat.
But why are you so good like this?
The grace of God.
Hey, sister.
And self-love.
You know, you look like your face is just on point. You look young and beautiful, and I'm like, 55 is from where again? Do you exercise?
Yeah, I do.
Exactly.
I walk, I time myself. Like now I've done 1,838 steps, and I want to do around 10,000 steps per day.
Eva, please.
Yeah.
Eva, you need to wake up. And so you were turning 55.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, so 55, how has the journey been?
The journey has been, I would say, superb. I love it. And I would say the moment I clocked 50, I was never afraid to say my age. Because I wanted people to see my age and look at me and look at where God has brought me and what God has done in my life. So I love 50. I love 50. 50 is, when I clocked 50, God gave me rest from so many things. Yeah.
So how has your life, let me ask, how has your life been as a girl growing up, like from childhood and then all the, because 55, there's so much we need to learn from you, yeah. Right? So you growing up, just give us that story, like growing up, a young girl, a teenager, high school, campus, until to this grandmother.
Eva, I am a PK, pastor's kid.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I am a PK. My mom was a women leader, and my mom is the one who brought salvation in our home. And my dad ended up being a civil servant, a diplomat, and a pastor. By the time he was retiring to his deathbed, he was still a pastor. So we grew up with my siblings. We are many. We grew up knowing that...
Many is how much? How many?
8 girls and 1 boy.
Wow. Kudos to your mom.
Yeah. So I'm the second born in a family of 9. And we grew up being given boundaries. And we grew up knowing that hata ukiva earring ni dhambi. We grew up in a church called Voice of Salvation and Healing, which was those indigenous churches under Archbishop, the late Silas Owiti. So we were trained in a way that huwezi ukichokoza mtu, you have to repent. And we grew up in a Christian background whereby every Friday, kesha kwa nyumba, whether you like it or not, there's no eating in that house. You have to pray. My mom would say, ka hapa, lala. But my mom would pray until morning. And we were allowed to go to Vosh. It's called Vosh. It's a very big church. Right now it's under Archbishop Dr. Winnie Owiti, a very good mom to us. So we would go to Vosh, do what Vosh wants, tie the vitamba, wear long clothes, no trouser, no makeup, no Q-tex, nothing. And then finish our Sunday school and rush to Crisco. John Das, where Harry Das was the pastor at City Hall. So we would still go to Das. John Das was the worship leader, and we would sing and learn memory verses and just have fun like the normal youth. But every Sunday, the whole 9 of us must go to church. So I grew up as a very, I wouldn't say a good girl. In our family, I think I was the toughest. I would even beat my elder sister.
Why? Okay.
And I beat my follower because I was naughty. I would do funny things, but ukistaki, my eye, let mama go. I will pinch you. We remember that. My sisters remember that to date. So I grew up like, I think second borns, you have to defend yourself. Because firstborn and thirdborn, and then fourthborn was my pro. So there was so much tenderness after me. So I grew up, I knew, by the time I was in class 4, I could iron my dad's shirts. I could cook because my mom didn't have house girls. So there was a duty roster for everything in the house. So you know, on Saturday when it's siku yako ya chapo, you have to go to Bama and buy kuku na ungangano, upike chapati, githeri naiva hapo, ule aliosha nguo for, you know. So we were brought up being responsible and loving each other. And my mom was, I would say, like now she would be called a fashion designer, but she was a tailor. So she taught us how to dress. She taught us how to carry yourself, how to make your hair. Because my mom loved good things. May her soul rest in peace. So that's how we grew up. And I think for me, I think I took after my dad. My dad has my body. He died at 85, 86. But he was still strong despite the fact that he had a stroke. So I grew up, I finished my primary in Pumwani, because I was born in Pumwani maternity. Then we grew up just next to, opposite garage where there is Garissa Lodge now. So I grew up there until I was in class 6. Then when my dad got born again, I think God just brought everything together, because he got born again, the same week he got born again is the same week he got promotion, and we moved to Upper Hill, now where who is who. So we grew up in Upper Hill, and Upper Hill we grew up with the high end, the Okiki Amayos, the Angaines, you know, the Owayos, the big shots. So being in that environment, we knew how to dress. We knew how to eat, because we would go to birthdays. Initially, we didn't know there was birthday. But when we moved to Upper Hill, we knew there was birthday, there was picnics. So we grew up knowing good things. And that time, my mom got us all from Pumwani, and I was taken to Kalsa South Sea.
Yeah,
just Mombasa Road.
Oh, okay.
So there I also met the rich kids, the Biliomalas kids, the broadcasters kids were there. So talking English and just growing up and loving yourself just started from childhood. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So from the high school you were taken to, did you proceed?
Oh, my high school, I think because I was naughty, nilirushwa uko Uyoma, Utiende Amolos is the MP uko Uyoma, Nyakongo girls uko ndani.
Okay.
And my mom didn't know where I was calling, even my dad.
So how did you get there?
The husband to our matron was a pastor in our church, Vosh. The wife was the matron. So when I did my class 7, we were the last group of class 7. When I did my class 7, I think I didn't perform well, and my follower got me. We all did class 7 the same time. So she performed so well. And you know, school fees was like, my dad now was having issues with school fees because of my elder sister being in high school in Eldoret, and he was the only breadwinner because my mom became very, very sick, so she couldn't do anything. So I had to stay home one term. My sister, my follower, was called to Aria, Parklands. So she went to Aria. Then the second time, my dad just did for me shopping, everything, and I was taken to the railway station. And I was told, here, the station master. The matron was there with some other students, and I went to school.
So your parents didn't know where you schooled?
They never visited me. I was never visited from 1 to Form 4.
Then, wow.
I was visited once by my uncle. Because now he moved from Nairobi to Eldoret, and then he was in Kisumu. So there was one time, even parents meeting. Even my school fees was being, if I'm supposed to go back home, if people are being sent home, the matron would call the bishop, Archbishop Silas. Wilson Okoko's daughter hasn't cleared her fee. Do we send her home? No. One of the pastor my dad would send money to the church. One of the pastor would ride a motorbike from Kisumu to Uyoma. So I was never allowed to go home.
So how did that make you feel, going through high school and your parents don't even know?
I didn't even care, because I was being done shopping, like, none of that big bright light, Omo Giant, Treetop, everything giant.
So basically you were just an independent
I was
child.
just okay, because when people are going for half term, we'd go to the matron's house.
Wow.
Just behind the dormitories.
Okay, we'll come to that independence thing later, but then let's know, after high school, now you came back to Nairobi?
Yeah, every closing day, we would be booked a train.
So after you finished, after you finished your high school, now you transition now back to Nairobi where your parents were? Yeah. And then?
And then I think the way I carried myself, my dad just sensed, this one, I know what she's supposed to be doing. So my dad would always give me fare and tell me, can you come to the office and see the way we do things in the office? So, and my dad used to work at Foreign Affairs. So as you walk from Upper Hill, you pass Foreign Affairs. His window, he was the internal auditor. His window, we could see him. So I would go in, and then his secretary would give me work to do. Either fold envelopes or just do some funny things in the office. I take tea, then it reaches around 4 o'clock, we go back with my dad. So I came to love being a secretary, because you know those secretarial ladies, the government secretarial, you'd be smart. Nywele ilikuwa hakuna kushuka lines ama piece. You know, the way we used to dress. So I would look at his secretary, Mrs. Oburu, and I would like, wow, look at the way she's walking. Look at the way she's dressed. So I ended up going for secretarial.
Oh, so that's what you did?
Yes, I did.
So after you did, you became a secretary, Anna?
I did secretarial. I started with Pitman's, which was the international secretarial, the shorthand, all those. Then I advanced to NEC. I did now the government, so that I wanted to work in a corporate. Because when I did Pitman, I used to work, when I finished school, I worked for the Kenya Union of the Blind. So after that, I felt like I need to advance, because I wanted to be like those government secretaries. Unfortunately, that time I think I was just becoming hyper. You know that girl, the college girl. My best friend in high school got me a boyfriend.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I eloped.
Wait. So you didn't finish?
I finished school and I was working. But now my best friend, who is my best friend to date, we are friends for the last 30 years, got me her nephew.
Okay.
And I started dating.
And you eloped?
And I eloped when my father now transferred to Kakamega.
PK? Eloped hivyo?
Hivyo tu.
Okay. So now we are in marriage. Now you have eloped, you're working, you're married. So how did life turn out?
When I eloped, I stopped working.
Why?
I don't know. I just stopped working. Have you ever told a girl to stop dating and to stop?
your husband told you to stop working, or you just
decided to stop working because my dad got a transfer. Now he was almost retiring, so he got a transfer to Kakamega. Then I was moved to my uncle's place. My uncle was very strict, and I couldn't stand him. Then I ran away from my uncle's place. I went to my auntie's place in Kimathi. So from Kimathi, I worked when I was in Kimathi. Then I just got tired of living with she was so good, but I just got tired.
Okay.
Then I moved to Kakamega. Now from Kakamega, how was I supposed to live far from my boyfriend?
Yeah.
And that's how I left Kakamega, just took a bus and to my boyfriend's house.
So you're now married?
Yeah, I just got married like that.
Okay. All right, so tell us about your marriage. How did it turn out? Was it heaven on earth?
Oh, it was hell on earth.
Okay.
So when I got married, I became pregnant immediately. Then I became pregnant when I was still living with my parents in Kakamega, but they didn't know. That's why I eloped, because a pastor's kid pregnant. I couldn't stand giving my parents that shame.
The stereotype, the stigma.
Yeah. So that's why I moved. My boyfriend used to live in Ruiru. He was working with the coffee research. So I moved into his house, and now I was nursing my pregnancy. And as I was nursing my pregnancy, I was like, is this how a man should be? Because I was looking for a man, my dad, that responsible man, that man who loved my mom, that man who took care of everything. Because I remember when we were in Upper Hill, my dad would travel out of the country even for 3 months, because he was now the external auditor in embassies. And he would leave my mom with checks, open checks, for electricity, for uchumi, for what, for everything, for our school fees. So at the end of the month, my mom would go to National Bank and pay all this. And we go to Uchumi for shopping. So I am here, I'm like, what's happening? I never had my mom borrow money. I never saw my dad drunk. Even before he got born again, my dad would come in drunk, but he would stay in the car. So my mom would like, endeni mkalale haraka. Nini mnafanya hapa nje? So we would go to the bedroom, and then my mom would bring my dad inside the house. So we never saw our dad drunk. So now I'm married. Yeah? Mlevi, kelele, matusi. I've not given even birth. I'm like, but I can't go back. What's happening? So every weekend, now that I had eloped, my mom already knew where I was, because now I told my elder sister, she's a nurse. So every Friday I would be going to my sister's house in Ruai. But I would not tell them, because I don't want them to know this man is a drunkard. This man is, and I never used to see these things when we were dating. I don't know why.
How long did you date?
I think we did it, maybe 2 years.
For 2 years, you didn't see the drunkenness?
I didn't.
What? You didn't even see
Because the time we would meet, it was watching movie, having lunch. It was just watching movie, having lunch, going to his place, back. So the time he's drinking, I never knew. I knew he drinks and smokes, but he never did it when I was with him.
Did you see the anger?
No.
You just got it in the marriage context?
Yeah. In the marriage, then I was like, what? What's all this? I've never seen this. So I worked on that marriage. I worked on the marriage. I got my baby, my son. And I think he was like, but what comforted me so much, his mom loved me. His mom, if you're talking of a good mother-in-law, his mom was the best. His mom loved me. I think he knew the sons. He knew his son. So he was like, he's protecting me the way not to go through what she had been going through with the husband. So she was always like, oh, come over to Kaloleni. She used to work for City Council. Come over to Kaloleni, then I would go, we stay with her. She would give me food. She would just pack a lot of food for me. When I go, nakuta mboga ya kienyeji, githeri, samaki, matumbo.
So does that mean there was financial abuse, like the man was not supporting you financially in the marriage? Because now you had to find food from his mom's place and then come back with it.
No, he would do shopping. He would do shopping. Mm-hmm. He was very good at doing shopping. But I never knew I never touched his money.
Also, he would rather do shopping himself?
Yeah.
Than give
We just go to the supermarket, we pick what we are picking, he pays, he drops me home, he disappears if it's Friday. And if it's month end, and we know it is month end, my neighbor would tell me, ni mwisho wa mwezi, mishahara iko. So we would go, women, to National Bank in Ruiru and camp at the gate, sit at the post office, and the National Bank is opposite, waiting for them to withdraw. We go shopping, then we leave them to drink. So I never knew a man, I never even knew a man could buy for you a dress. So when I was in this marriage, the beginning of those times, I would just do some small businesses, like selling ice. Yeah, because I went to visit my follower in High Rise. I found her selling ice, Zima ice pops. So she taught me. Then she gave me money to start. So I started selling ice.
So how did this affect you emotionally?
It did. It affected me seriously because I didn't disclose what I was going through to anyone or even my friends. Because when I got married, I started going back to church. So I would always be in church, cry in church, do things in church, usher, just get busy in church. And then after my son was, after 6 months, his uncle, who was the director, approached him and asked him, this lady you have married, what are her qualifications? Has she gone to college? Yes, she went to college, she has this. Can you please tell her to go and see the executive secretary? Because now my mother-in-law knew what I was going through and told his brother-in-law, who was the director. So I went and I didn't do any interview. And that's how I got a job at Coffee Research. That was my second job. Mm-hmm. So I didn't care whether he gave me money or he did shopping or he bought me clothes. I was even earning more than him.
So you took on the responsibility of the house?
Yes.
And him? What happened after you took on the responsibility?
He was just drinking because where we used to live, the research had schools, nursery, medical. So we had everything within the same environment. So I just became a hardcore. I didn't care. My time I would spend either shopping, going to Kikomba, doing what, just dressing. Then I joined chamas. So chamas we would buy like utensils, things in the house, clothes. We would even have chama for buying clothes.
So basically you are just a single person but living with a man under the same roof?
Yes.
Did you ever go through physical abuse?
That time, no.
What do you mean that time, no?
That when we were living in Ruiru, he never, but you nasikiaga, there's I don't know that verse in, it's in the Bible, but I know it in Luo, because my mom used to preach it to us. He's like this rain that does not stop. Akianza kelele, unaamka katikati usiku bado unapigiwa kelele. He can scold you. When he's drunk, he can scold you the whole night. And then he didn't like sharing. So even if I have a birthday party for my kids, some things have to be kept aside. And I was like, now what's all this? What's all this? Then I was in coffee research for 4 years. And then retrenchment came when coffee industry just went down. Retrenchment came and we had to leave. People were paid their dues, he was paid his due. But I was so ambitious of going back to school and working. So we moved to Kabete. And I decided to look for a job and start business because I had the money from retrenchment.
So by this time you still have this one son?
No, by that time I already had my daughter. I got my daughter after 3 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I had my daughter, my son, I named after his father. Then I had my daughter, who I named after his mom. So my kids were my best friends. I got comfort and solace and just friends from small kids, and we grew up together. So we would always have fun, go to town, go for shopping. I go visit relatives, just with my 2 children.
So let me get it clear. What exactly was the role of this man now?
Sex.
Just sex?
Yeah.
Wow. But you had already switched off.
I had already switched off. Within the first 2 years before I got my baby, my follower was getting married. My mom came and told me, now my mom came to visit us and was like, you know, mothers can read, and told me, my daughter, you know what? Your follower is going to get married and the husband wants to pay dowry. Can you organize with your husband? I don't want my kids to skip each other. My elder sister had already been married and dowry was paid. So I went and discussed with the mom. So the mom was like, okay, we will plan for it. Unfortunately, the mom passed on. The dad passed when my son was 6 months. Now the mom passed on after 2 years. So my dowry is supposed to be paid after the mom, because now my parents could not even come to bury her. Even the dad. So my bro and my elder sisters are the ones, my elder sister and my other sisters are the ones who came for all these burials. So I'm supposed to, my follower is supposed, the husband wants to pay dowry. My mom tells me, my daughter, I don't want your younger sister to pay dowry before you. It's not tradition, but I would love things to go. Can you organize, then you people pay? Then I discussed again with my remaining father-in-law. So he said, unfortunately, I cannot help you. I cannot give out money to pay your dowry. Traditionally, he's the eldest son, the remaining father-in-law. He's the eldest son, and his son is young. Traditionally, now he can't pay dowry for the younger one. But we can support you. So I said, okay. So my mom said, you are okay financially. So you just look for money and you make them come home. Do you know I married myself?
I was about to say that, so basically you married yourself.
I married myself.
Did your husband?
He came, he was given money, but he drank.
Wait. You gave him money?
I gave him part of the money. His uncle gave him some money to come and give my parents. He had to give my parents 5,000.
He drank the entire money?
Because since I was already at home, I bought the food, I gave money to my mom, my dad gave our house, shamba boy. They got the cow. They didn't know I was marrying myself.
Oh my God.
And the following day he came with the cousin, very drunk. He gave, instead of giving my mom, the whole amount was given by the uncle, and what I topped, he gave my parents 5,000.
Okay, wait. Let me just ask this. How much did he have?
Almost 40.
Then he gave 5,000?
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
Mm.
Okay.
So I married myself, and that's the start of the quagmire I was living in. Because now he could do anything, and then his relatives from the mom's side would say, we didn't marry you. You know, in Luo it sounds so bad. In Luo, it sounds so bad. We didn't, I don't know, let me put it in Luo. Wanok no anyumi, ni nyuom kendi.
Okay, I don't even know what that means.
You are Luo?
No.
We didn't marry you. You married yourself. So how do we come into your issues when things are going bad? So I almost went into depression. That time I'd already moved to Kabete. Things are bad. My best friend who gave me this man is like, please forgive me. I didn't know all these things.
Okay, before you go on, just help me understand. Why exactly did you stay? You saw abuse before even 6 months down into the marriage. Emotionally, you are being abused. Financially, he wasn't giving you money. He couldn't buy you even a dress or anything. Why did you stay? Because that is what I listened to so many stories about abuse, marital abuse. And I get so angry, like, why did you stay? So let me understand.
Number one.
Why did you stay?
Number one, my kids. You stay because of children. Number two, your parents are pastors. How do you start to be? In Luo, it is called ago come back, odioduogo. How do you start being that?
So it's the shame.
It's the shame you don't want to put across to your parents.
But again, help
and
me
your
understand.
mom would say, vumilia tu, vumilia itaisha.
But help me understand, when you say you are for your kids, what do you mean? Because I don't understand.
You don't want kids, because you've been brought up knowing that children must grow with their father.
Because you grew up in a functional family.
Yes.
So you were having hopes in your head, in your thoughts.
He will change. He'll be born again.
What?
All
okay,
this
wait.
time,
But he will be born again?
Yes. All this time, I'm still in church. Rooted, I'm serving. Head
so
of
you're
ushering.
praying for him.
Yes.
You have this hope in
Kabisa.
Christ,
yes,
that he will change. And that is what has sent so many women to the grave.
Yes.
Think I'm just going to pray him to salvation.
Yes, you want to change him. Not God, it's you to change him.
But then you forgot you're emotionally being hurt, you're financially being hurt, even spiritually you're being hurt.
Yeah.
You know, because I usually get angry with God. Like, why am I praying for this man and he's continuing to molest me and hurt me so much?
Yeah. And once in a while, we would go to church and I would be so happy. So I was like, at least tunaendaga church.
So you stayed because of your kids. Number two, you stayed because of the shame that how do I go back home?
Yeah.
So let me just ask you a very ruthless question. So basically you'd even die there.
I almost died there.
What do you mean almost?
It was either me dying there or me killing him. It was either the two.
How did it go that far?
We'll come there. Now we've moved to Kabete. The auntie got me a job. I'm doing business. I opened a salon, a cyber, cosmetic shop in Kabete. 3 months down the line, they came and stole everything. Everything was stolen from my shop. So I switched back from business to work. I worked there for 2 months, but I was I think I was depressed because I was always crying. I was always sad. I was not sleeping. I was just tired of life. But my kids are happy. On Sunday, I would even take them because now when we moved to Nairobi, I switched to ICC. So from ICC, I would go to any field, even if it's Uhuru Park, I sleep, and they're playing and they're eating. Then we go back home because this guy, what he was paid was for party after party. He schooled in a very expensive high school. So his friends were high-ended kids. So they would be at Sima, 680, Carnival, Monday. Asubuhi anarudi, asubuhi analala usiku. Like that. Nothing, doing nothing. And I think he drank all the money. It was a lot of money. So I became so depressed. I was stressed. I was always, you know, I reached a point whereby I would be a stressed woman. You'd sit somewhere and you're like, and you're just crying. Then people are like, pole mama, unafikiria hata umetoka hosi ama mochari.
Wait.
Yeah.
This is just random.
Yeah,
You
and,
seated somewhere and you...
yeah, and you just collapse anyhow, even in the middle of the road.
What?
So look at me. I was a size 8. I was this thin. I couldn't tuck. If I tuck, you're like, what's wrong with this lady?
Like people just come to you and tell you pole.
Pole mama, pole. Because I'm just sitting somewhere nalia too. I'm just, I was like, what? Then now my best friend, she's that lady's my best friend. She just decided to come. She had already moved from, I think they were still in Kisumu. But she just decided to book for me a Kamba. Those days a Kamba was there. 3 tickets. Maybe go to my best friend, who is the auntie to this guy, and this guy now the cousin, one of the cousins, was also close to me. We used to be with her in ICC. So they decided to book for me a Kamba with my 2 children. They told me, pack, go. Mother, now the remaining mother-in-law. She said, mother amesema hana saa ya kupanga matanga.
Because you were going to die.
I was going to die. And that's how I left for Kisumu. With my kids. I left on a Sunday and my kids were opening on Monday. That was in August 2005. Yes. I left for Kisumu. I reached in the evening. I went to our house in... nobody even knew I was going to Kisumu, except these 2 people. Because the people from the father's side, those people loved me. But the people from the mother's side, my mother-in-law's side, hey.
So Kisumu, to your house, when you say our house, what
my dad had bought a place in Kisumu land and built a house.
So basically, like you went back home.
Yeah, I went back home.
So was that the end of the marriage, Amma?
No.
Okay.
So I went back home, and reaching our house is in Manyata. Reaching Manyata, my dad had gone to preach in Mombasa. So I called him, I told him, me, I'm home. I explained to him, except it's okay, I'm coming back on Sunday. And that time it's Monday. So I'm imagining and my mom, our house was always full with strangers. My dad would pick anybody from church who doesn't have fare to go back to their shags, comes and stay in our house. So I'm like, then I called my sister, one of my sisters, small sister was working in Kisumu. So I called her and told her, Millie, I'm in Kisumu because of ABCD. Remember, it's okay, I'll come in the evening, we talk. Mom is not at home. She is not picking any call, so we don't know where she is. So I went to Kisumu. My sister came in the evening. My kids were so excited because they knew my sister. So my sister said, instead of staying up kwa Fathe, let's go back. Let's come to my place in Polyview. So we carried my 3 suitcases and my 2 children, and we went to her house. Then I stayed. I gave her the story. She was like, just stay. When Dad is back, he'll decide what to do with you. I don't know what happened in the evening. I don't know what this guy told my elder sister. I don't know what my elder sister told my sister. Before I went to sleep, my sister told me, tomorrow just wake up in the morning. I give you a push to the stage when you shall go. Inasemekana, you are older than me, you're not supposed to stay in my house. So it's okay. I cried the whole night and I sat. My kids were sleeping down on a mattress. I sat. Minafukuza tu umbu. In the morning, I showered my kids. I told my sister, let me carry a small suitcase, then you remain with the bigger ones. I can maybe it's okay, they'll be safe here. Then I just carried a small bag, went to the stage. I knew our shags. I went to shags. I reached our shags. I was excited. I was happy, but Mom is not home. Ameenda happy, sijui kuzika, sijui pasta mgani Siaya. So my kids are like, hey, ushago, suji githeri ya black, ugali ya black. They are just complaining. Nikawambia huku ni kwetu. Mkitaka nitawarudisha kwa baba yenu. And you know, that time my son is in class 4, my daughter is in class 2. So they don't understand anything why mom is at home.
So have they closed schools or?
No, schools have opened
you just dragged them from school and went to
for September. I just took them and I don't care. I didn't even care anything. My issue was to go back to my mom. Then my mom was gifted in visions and dreams. So as she was in that matanga, she dreamt about me. Traveling like I'm hurt, but I'm crying. She didn't even bury the pastor. She came back the following day. I saw her coming from the gate. I was excited. I ran to her. I was happy. She didn't even ask me to give her the side of my story. She just told the caretaker, tafuta kuku moja, pikia mtoto wangu. She just wanted me to eat. You know, she looked at me and she asked me, what is wrong with you? Are you sick? I said, I don't know. So it's okay. We will sort it out when your father comes back from Mombasa. Then we stayed, because now I was in Shags around Wednesday. So we stayed until Sunday morning. My mom carried me with my 2 children to go to church, Kisumu, Vosh. My dad was already in Kisumu. So from Kisumu, we went to the house. My mom just decided to kafukuza kila mtu kwa nyumba. Then my dad came with a fundi. We had a compound. Then they built for me a room outside here, there. The following week, my dad told me, these kids are going to school. Which school? You don't worry, I'm taking them to school. So she carried my kids in the morning. In Ondiek, Vosh and Ondiek Estate, there's a class school. Zile za city council za chini kabisa. So they went, my dad bought for them uniform from the market. They went to that school. My kids would come in the evening, mami, hiyo shule, watoto wanatucheka, ati nywele yangu refu, ati tumevaa viatu na socks. You know those schools. The principal of that school was a pastor in there. So my dad talked to him and he said, bring them here. They stay before their mom settle. So I was at home, I was in Kisumu, and now my dad had already had his side of the story and had the side of my story. So my dad concluded, it's only a matter of money and being drunk. He had never beaten me. It was just a matter of, I was stressed because he was always drinking and not coming home. And nakelele. So my dad decided to take me for counseling in their church, the Archbishop Winnie. So Winnie would take me through and she would tell me, my daughter, please coming here, help us arrange, because I was secretarial. By that time, I'd already done my NEC exams. So I had good papers. Just sit here, you can help us answer phone calls. So in the morning, I would dress my skirt suits, go to the office, even if I'm not paid, I'm just given 100 for fare and lunch as I wait my kids to come from school. Then one time, my mom told me, I've seen one of my cousins, and I've heard there's an advertisement of a job. My mom used to tarmac for us, by the way. And your sister, being the HR, it is where she's working. I have talked to her in the evening, take your papers to the house. So my sister was like, kwani ulinistaki kwa mom? Kwambia hapana. But the way she was talking to me, it's like mtu amemsaka. Kwambia maybe it's uncle. Okay, I will just take your papers. I will help them shortlist you, but ujitete. They needed admin assistants, like 3. There was a new project coming in at the US Army Medical Research, the Walter Reed project in Kisumu. So they needed like PAs 3. So I just waited. After 2 days, I got a call from one of the directors that have been shortlisted. I'm called for interview. And I'm supposed to be picked from Kisumu District Hospital to the guest house. I dressed the way I know how to dress, and I went for the interview. Over 100 ladies, and they only need 3 people. Mimi nice, nimetoka coffee research huko ushago. The lady is driving packed and I'm like, God. I started quoting scriptures. I said, God, you single me out. You know, that time the voice, fire. So I prayed. I think I was number 63 out of 100 and something.
Wow.
So I was called around some minutes to 4. I met like 3 big director, I'm commander this, I'm colonel this. There were Zungus from the Walter Reed project in Washington. Then the Kenyans and my sister was also there as the HR. And I was asked, and I sat and I talked and I presented myself, because my CV is here. And I was told, we'll get back to you in 3 days. So I left, just walked back to the church. I lied on the pulpit and I told God, do it for me. Father, do it for your glory. I cried because I knew how to pray from ICC and from the Oasis of Love. Then after 3 days, I was called, Caroline, you've been called for a second interview. Then I went for the second interview. So I was like, God, single me out. Single me out. I went and one of now the main immediate boss told me, Caroline, congratulations. You are 3, but the other 2 ladies are not coming. One got a green card. The other one got another job in Nairobi. Congratulations.
Wow.
I was like,
God singled you out.
hey, I said,
Wow.
God, this Jesus.
That's nice to know.
With very good salary, good package. So I started the work on a 15th of October. See, I left 1st of September, 15th of October. I started working.
So all this time you are in Shags, your husband is not even looking for you?
I think I came from Acacia and my phone got lost.
Oh.
You know those Alcatel?
But he knows your Shags?
Yeah, he knows I'm Shags.
So you didn't even come?
See, now I don't want to talk to him. My dad even doesn't want me to talk to him.
Okay. So
but my dad was planning on how to bring him to Nairobi, and I didn't know, to Kisumu. Because I think now they talked with the remaining father-in-law, and it was like, it's only that, let's reconcile them. And I started working.
In October now.
In October. The end of the month, I got my money. Then my dad told, I got a house, a very nice, big, 1-room, very big house. Then I changed my kids from that school to a PCA, it's a PEFA school, a very nice school now where they could make their hair and wear socks. After that, my dad talked to me and I felt the love came back. And I was excited. Yeah, I was excited he was coming to Kisumu. The love was still there. Haikuwa imeenda hata kama nilikuwa nimehepa. So I was like, wow. So my dad organized for a vehicle, a lorry. Ikabeba vitu, had already gotten a house. Then he came. We were happy. And when I was filling my documents, like medical, next of kin, I put him.
Wait.
Love covers a multitude of sin.
Okay, fine, but you've gone through all this with this guy.
Yes.
And then he's in Kisumu.
Now he was in Nairobi, but he came to Kisumu now.
He's come to Kisumu. Staying in whose house?
My house.
Hi, Jesus. Okay, wait. Okay, me, you just have to excuse me, okay, because I don't understand this. And then he's your next of kin.
Yes, medical cover, everything. After around 6 months, after 3 months, yeah, because immediately I joined the company, it's an NGO. I joined it, I went into the circle. It's one of the embassy circle. So after 6 months, I was given very good loan. What?
I am waiting to hear what
I
you did with
opened
the
a
loan.
business for him.
That's exactly what was my thought. That's why I leaned in to listen. What did you do?
And you know, all these months as we are waiting for things, for me to get a loan, Kisumu had only one ATM, Barclays. When it's month end, it's like from here to Quickmart. Imeenda hivi. You know Kisumu? You know that parking? The line iko hivi. I'm working at Maseno University because the project was at Maseno. So it's month end. I need to pay rent. I need to do shopping. I need to pay fee. I need just to... Sweetheart, here's the ATM. This is the PIN.
Okay. Okay.
Go withdraw 30,000, 40,000, pay rent, do shopping, because he was very good in doing shopping. And jishikilie na ka 5K.
God bless your soul. Wacha nisikuangalie vibaya.
And then he would return my ATM. Month 1, month 2, month 3, month 4, month 5. Now it, you get your bank statement and it's like, he was supposed to withdraw 40. How comes on this date it was withdrawn 50 or 45? And you don't ask. So I just said, let me just keep quiet. Maybe because he's not busy. So I opened a kinyozi, a barber shop, makeup, salon, every M-Pesa. It was Atieli to simu ya jamii. I bought simu ya jamii so that he can be busy. Well, he was busy. We used to get a lot of money per day because now sinakatwa loan. So at least that pesa would subsidize some things. Drinking started. No money from the shop. He's not paying electricity. And that's the only bill my dad gave us because the shop was, you know, compound, then shops. My dad had shops. So my dad gave us one shop. No money. He would come to work, drunk, stagger in front of my dad. I'm like, boy. When I ask, when I come back, and then, you know, like where we worked was a research institute. So we leave at 4 so that before the volunteers come for the briefing and all that, you've already set up, everything is in place. Then you leave Maseno. Our headquarters was in Kisian and New Nyanza General Hospital and Kombewa. So by the time I'm from Maseno, maybe we have to pass through Kombewa, pick some things, because it was blood drawing, medicine, so many things. But as administrators, we were dealing with regulatory paperwork. Then you'd be at home even 8 or 9 or 10. Umetoka wapi? Oh, nani amekudrop? I'm like, but those are our drivers. And the people in that, hao ni wazungu gani? But those are my bosses. Because Walter Reed is full of wazungu. And the army comes every now and then. No, kelele. So I was like, kelele, I'm still doing the whole shopping. You're still taking my money. You've refused with my ATM card. I'm always broke. I have to borrow my dad money.
He refused with your ATM card?
Yeah, so my dad...
So you work, he takes the salary?
Yeah. Doesn't give me even a single cent.
Girl!
Mm-hmm.
Wait, pause. I need to breathe.
Yeah.
You work.
Yes.
He takes the salary. Whew,
now
okay.
He's like, lunch money, because there's no fare. We are picked from the doorstep and dropped. So I'm given money per day.
Hi. So what is happening to you? Because now he's a drunkard. He's
Now
being paid.
I've started becoming depressed, stressed again.
The bills are being paid?
Yeah, so, yeah, the house is being paid. It was only the house, the electricity, the water. It's inclusive of the rent. So I'm like, I'm broke. I don't have money. I need to do something. What do? I go and borrow my dad. Then my dad was like, but I have been telling you every month, give me even 10K, I keep for you. Then when you're broke now, I'll be giving you 2,000. It's like you don't know how to save. I don't want to tell my dad. I don't want to tell my mom. I've even stopped shopping for my mom. So I'm like, I went and told my dad, let me tell you what is happening. My dad told me it's okay. Tomorrow when you're coming from work, pass by my office. Now he had already retired. He was now a full accountant for Vosh churches, East and Central Africa. So I went the following day and he gave me lost ATM form to fill. So I filled my ATM is lost. Then he took back. Then after 2 weeks, I went and collected my ATM, nikanyamaza nayo. So month end imefika. The man goes to captured. Oh, meshikana na mama wa Kisumu, wameanza kukudanganya. Because now I had even stopped going for office parties with him. I'd stopped inviting him to anything. I got mad. I think I just became mad. I went to the shop and I took the phone and went and sold and left for him the other things to deal with them. Now it was hell. Kelele, nini, kupigwa, what, money, let ATM, yeah.
The beating started?
Yes.
Like he would beat you?
Yes. I even have a mark here. And
Yeah,
I have this.
What?
So after 2 days, I would go to the office with black eye, sometimes swollen lips, sometimes I'm limping. So I would ngware iliniangusha. Drisha ilinifinya vidole. Nilianguka kwa stairs. So one time admin took me akaniambia kuja hapa. These are not accidents. Exactly. You are being beaten. I cried. Our admin was a very old man. I cried. I told him, Fred, yeah. And you know that time, we've already stayed like 1 year. I've moved like 5 houses.
Why?
Aibu. Ya kelele. Na matusi na kutukana anybody. So I persevered year 1, year 2. And then now it became bad. My mom would even come talk to him. His uncle would come from Eldoret, said, stop mistreating a working class lady. This lady is doing everything. Why are you? Then he had one auntie who was like, beat her, do this, don't leave her.
Hey.
So I had very weird friends. I would not say weird, very good friends. Good friends. They were like, usirudi home leo. Si atakuchapa. Si umetoka job late, atakuchapa. Twende. So you'd go out and drink.
When did your drinking start?
Now when I'm in Kisumu.
Is it because of the pain?
The pain
Numbing the pain?
Yeah, and then I'm from work late, I don't want to go back home. Because I'll be beaten.
If you go back home, you'll be beaten.
Yes.
So you're scared.
I'm scared.
So you're drinking to numb the pain. You're scared to go back to your own house.
But I'll eventually go back and I will be beaten.
So basically
because
you're
if I
just
think of my
postponing
kids,
the beating.
yeah, if I think of my kids, I go back.
Okay.
So by that time, my son is in class. No, my son, the beating went until my son went, I took my son to a boarding school, Form 1. And then now when I took my son to boarding, my son told me, Mom, when I'm going to boarding, now my Daisy, take Daisy to boarding, otherwise she will be depressed. I was living with my niece, the daughter to his sister. I took her also to a boarding school because I loved that kid. After my mother-in-law died, I decided to take this small girl. So I took everyone to boarding. So when people are in boarding, I move to a place or I move to a friend's house. When my kids are opening, I'm back because I don't want my kids to know that I keep on running away. The beating did not stop. It became worse and worse until I could even be beaten in front of my sisters. My mom could even be abused. So this beating went on, and it became worse. I was always moving houses. I was always running away. I was just a sad girl and earning good money and dressing so well.
But it's a cover-up.
It's a cover-up. A few, like my best friend in the office, yeah, she was also a single mom. She's the only one who knew what I was going through. So, and she was born again. So she started bringing me back. She started bringing me back to church. But now I didn't know which church to go to. I didn't believe in church anymore.
A PK?
A PK, yeah.
Who has been to church? In Nairobi, she was in church every time. Went back to Kisumu. Now it's no longer in church.
No longer in church. I would go to Sitam this Sunday, the following Sunday, Redeemed, DC, anywhere. Sunday I feel a friend invites me, or I just stay at home.
Okay, let me hear. What happened for you to stop going to church?
Because my prayer for this man to get saved.
Yeah, you got frustrated.
He became worse than Nairobi.
Proverbs, hope deferred makes a heart sick. So your heart grew sick.
Yeah. Things became so bad. This guy, there's a day he bet my dad. In the process of all this happening, I think my dad became stressed. And my dad got a stroke. And now, the first attack, he was okay, day one. The following day when we were taking him to hospital, he relapsed badly. And this thing happened when he was having a church AGM. He just went like this. So they're like, no, this is a strong man. And that week, he was always telling me and my sis, I have a headache behind here. Tunamwambia hiyo ni pressure. Ashindwe. That's how he used to reply. My dad never used to take even Panadol. If you talk of Panadol, he points my mom. Because I think we were born, we found our mom hypertensive. So she's been on medication. She was on medication throughout. So my dad got a stroke. We were still living together with this guy. So akaton down kidogo, because now it's hospital, and my dad was hospitalized for 1 month. He lost speech. He lost everything, all coordination. He was just... But this guy didn't stop. Didn't stop. He would even abuse me together with my dad now. So there's a day my dad... So every day we had to make sure either I go home to our house in Manyata, or my sister goes, because we have to check on his diet, everything. So there's a day my mom called me and told me the houseboy, the caregiver, wants to go on leave. There's a guy I've already found at home. On Friday, can you come over? And you know, we had reached a point we are not even talking in the house. I cook, I leave it there, I go to work. He comes and eats and makes the house as dirty as he can, so that I talk and I don't talk.
On purpose?
Yes. So my mom called me and told me, you come home on Friday, you pick the houseboy, then when you arrive, you release the other one, you send him to the bus stop, then he comes. So I did exactly that. I didn't even ask for permission. Why? For what? So I went, and nikifika Ushago, my mom, I asked for permission, so I was in Shags by 4. Our house, Shags and Kisumu is 35 minutes drive. So the boy, it was raining, the boy says he washed his clothes at the river. They are wet, he can't travel, so he has to come tomorrow. So see, this is our Shags. Me, I spent. I didn't care. I didn't even tell my mom nowadays I don't care. Because sasa kichwa yangu ngumu, can go out, I can do what I want.
So you've become tough.
I become just that woman who doesn't care about him. So I go back home, and I find the following day we go back with the boy. Then I do for him orientation. And I go to my house. Well, you can think people are fighting in that house. From the door, you meet the plates and everything, dirty clothes, clean clothes, dirty utensils. I'm like, I tidy the house, I do everything. Then he comes. You know, I had already now closed that business and sold the dryers and everything I could sell. And he took what he could take. So I think one of his cousins bought for him a bike, boda. Mark you know, this is a graduate, a statistician from Kenya Poly.
Wow.
Anaendesha boda. So, you know, boda guys, they went out, they're rowdy. Now he was that type. So I go back home, I tidy the house, I cook, he comes home, and he's like, you know that bad word, the M, Kiswahili word, he calls me that. Say, but me, I went home, go and even ask, no, I was beaten from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Door locked. My landlord was up, knocked the door. He regretted why he had those big grills on the door. I was beaten.
From 9 p.m.
to 2 a.m. I was screaming. Blood all, and I was putting on a white shirt and that white t-shirt. Blood all over. My hair, everything. Mgutupu. I don't know how it came to my mind, and I ran into the bedroom. You know, I'm being beaten from sitting room to this bedroom, to this bedroom, to this bedroom, to toilet. The whole house is just war. And I'm crying, I'm already tired. I feel like I'm going to die the next minute. You look at his eyes, it's demonic. It's not the normal eye of a person. And he was not getting tired. I went into the bedroom and I found some cough syrup I put into my mouth. I don't even know why I did that. So when he was coming to beat me, I did on his face. You know, ikaanza kumwasha, so he had to look for how to clean it. I managed to open the door, the kitchen door. I ran.
In the night?
In the night, and screaming. And people are out wondering what is to be done. The landlord, I think, had already called cops.
What?
Where, I don't know how this man reached me. He found me running.
That night?
Yes. Nilivurutwa kwa lami ndio hizi zote. Kwa lami hivi mpaka kwa nyumba. By the time I was reaching the house, the landlord had come with some security guys. They were not policemen, I think so. I think the security that was taking care of that place. So they caught him. And I ran again. Thank God I had my phone in my short pocket. I ran. I just remembered a friend of mine from ICC called Miriam. I ran. I called her. Said, Miriam, nifungulie. Miriam opened. Said, when you've been mugged? No.
You even had the strength?
Yes. I don't know where the strength came from.
And you're bleeding?
I'm bleeding all over my nose, my mouth, here, yani everything. Vidonda. I was a mess. So my friend takes me, tukaingia kwa gari yake police station. Reached police station. Over 10 women wenye wamepigwa usiku.
Oh, no.
So the OCS anasema, kwani tulikuja hapa Kisumu kufanya kesi ya baba wakipiga wa mama? Chukua tu obi, mwandikie obi aende. Mimi hakuna kitu nitafanya. Kama huna pali pa kwenda, kaa hapo mpaka asubuhi. So we took the obi, went back to my friend's house. She cleaned me. She called my mom. My mom early in the morning came. My mom looked at me. Asubuhi unajua umeoga. Ulioga usiku umefura hivi. I was like this. I was big. Mdomo iko huku ma. So my mom calls the aunties, the sister to the dad and the sister to the mom. Then we meet at United Mall. My mom was shouting. My mom never used to care. She said, call him here. Call him. I want to teach him a lesson. I want him to beat me now. Because Because when my mom called him, he told my mom, go and take care of your crippled husband. That is how my mom told them, me and my daughter, it is enough. She's coming to live with me.
Yeah.
And I went to live with my dad. Are you shocked? We went back together again. I moved from that house to another house.
With him?
No, he came later.
And you welcomed him?
Yes, I opened the door.
Okay, what is this thing with women?
I don't know.
Especially battered women still going back to the same person until they die, some of them?
I went back, a nice house, far from Kisumu, as if you're going to Ria Tukoju. Because huku sasa nimesha julikana. And I used to work with police abstract.
You're still with the same guy. Okay, can you please, because I'm not understanding. I've been asking myself this question. What is it with the battered women? They still get stuck into that marriage. I really don't know. What is it? Maybe
This altar of love and forgiveness. Kidogo hivi. Just more like this.